All right, let's get into it. Hello. Good evening, everybody. How is everybody doing today? I'm pretty excited for this one. I think everybody knows, your number one Dune simp is here, and I've been waiting for my slice of the Dune cake for years now. Years. And I'm just so happy. Got into the vibe. I'm wearing my Dune Book Club shirt from Danica 19's Dune Club. I got my tea. I'm ready to go. Let's go. Let's just settle in. Let's get comfortable. This is definitely going to be an off the dome kind of review. I haven't really had a chance to really sit and marinate on every aspect of it. I probably will do a YouTube video at some point about it. Depends, but it's also going to be very spoiler heavy. So if you haven't seen it yet, I'm sorry, it's going to be I can't talk about it without the spoilers. I can't. There's just too much to go over. So if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, but this is definitely going to be a spoiler review. But yeah, this is just kind of like my first thoughts, first impressions, just yeah. So let's get into it. So you guys know me. I am a huge Dune fan. It's probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite book series of all time. I just think it is the never-ending gift of of a fictional medium. It is one of those things that, and when I said this, I really have to marinate on the movie and think about it, because that's what Dune is. Dune is something, it's the gift that keeps on giving, there is just, you could read it a million times and find something new from it every single time. And then it, depending on what you latch on to, where you're at in your own life and what you're ready to accept mentally, it really is an exercise in philosophy and your own self-exploration within just a beautiful and expansive piece of sci-fi literature. It's just crazy. Just Dune is the shit. I've been super amped on this movie for years. Against my better judgment, I let myself get real hyped for this one. I did. I did it. I tried not to, because especially when you're adapting a book of this weight, of this headiness, it's a challenge, and most of the time it doesn't work out well. And that's because it's just hard to translate to a visual medium. It just is. It's no small task. So I knew that, and I still let myself get hyped, because I had faith in it. It looked like it was going in the right direction, that the people involved really cared about the material, and I let myself get hype. I let myself get real hype. Well, thank you, Elgrum. Ooh, premium sub here too. Lord Vito also did that as well. Shout out. Thank you. You guys are some real ones. But we'll just start with my overall rating. And then we'll really get into the granular nitty gritty of it all. But I let myself get really hyped about this movie, and honestly, I was pleased. I was I was very, very happy with it at the end of the day. I'm not gonna lie, I do, when we did get down into the details, I do have a lot of criticisms for it and a lot of things that I didn't love. But as a whole, I walked out of that theater stoked. Fucking stoked. So happy. I was crying a lot. I mean, big surprise. Daryn was crying. Shocker. But yeah, dude, hype satisfied, hype achieved. I had a fantastic time. I'm so happy that it exists and that I got to see it with my eye holes and my ear holes, and now I get to talk about it with my mouth hole. It's just, God, I'm just so happy. And now all these people are getting on the Dune train, which is fantastic. If I can get as many people on this Dune train, whatever it takes. I'm so stoked on it. So I guess, what do you guys want to hear? How do you want to hear me talk about it? Do you want to start with likes and dislikes? Or do you want me to talk about the characters first, or the chronologically? What do you guys want to hear first? I'm going to take a sip of my tea in my little cauldron, because it's spooky season. Oh, Sounds looks good. All right. There is a little bit. I do need to get rid of this. I thought I got rid of this chat delay, but whatever. Okay. Let's. Ooh, okay. All right. Okay, let's start with the characters first. Okay, we'll start with the characters first. There was great, there was good, and there was bad. That's kind of the summary of it all. But like truly, there are some that I have zero complaints for. Some that I think were just an utter failure, and some that I think just kind of like did it, but and didn't really go above and beyond, but it wasn't bad. If that makes sense. So, okay, let's start. I mean, we can start with Paul, the main character here, Paul, Mr. Paul Atreides himself. I thought Timothée Chalamet was fantastic. I thought he did. He looks like Paul, like the Paul I imagined in my head. It feels like he came out of the book and he became Paul. I think Timothée Chalamet is a fantastic actor. I really, really like him. I've talked about this, I think before in another stream, but like I really got turned on to him, not in a weird way, but noticed his acting ability in the 2019 Little Women movie, and I was very blown away by his performance, and I thought he did a fantastic job here. There's a lot of subtle nuances that needed to be captured, and a very visual noir, Denis Villeneuve. Did I pronounce his name right? I am always struggling on that bus, but the director, like his style of movie, I think Timothy performed it very well. I will say, despite Timothy's performance, I wasn't crazy about the way Paul as a character was portrayed. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed. I wasn't like in love with Paul like I was in the book, because like really Paul in the book is built up to be like the best, like your most idealized, coolest, smartest, most caring, empathetic, sharp, on it kind of guy. And it's because he's supposed to be, spoiler alert, he's supposed to be the Messiah, he's supposed to be the leader of this new movement. So he's supposed to be incredibly likable, someone, a Jesus type figure, like someone that people would actually really get behind and trust and love and want to die for and put all their hopes and dreams in. And the Paul that was captured in this movie was very adolescent, which again, Paul is supposed to be an adolescent, so I get that. And maybe that was just their way of trying to show how young Paul actually is supposed to be. But, it's Paul is supposed to be like way beyond his years, so I wasn't quite sure why they were making him seem so adolescent and so unaware and unwilling to participate in what was going on, because the Paul in the book is just trying his best. He really is trying his best. He all he wants to do is like please his dad and make him happy and do his duty, take care of his mom, figure out the truth. Like he's the perfect, Elgrim, he's the perfect man. He's like literally the perfect man. And this one was just, I wasn't in love with him as the leading man protagonist. He really wasn't capturing me, but it was okay. Not a really huge notch against it. But staying in the Atreides family, hold on, burp. All right. Staying in the Atreides family. Duke Leto, Oscar Isaac as Duke Leto, 11 out of 10. 11, like, I mean, what can I even say about it? He was so, he really embodied everything that I thought that Leto Atreides would be and what he would feel like. Again, as like I just said, as Paul is supposed to be like this perfect, Jesus type figure, his dad, Leto Atreides, is the man who shaped him, who made him who he was and really showed him the way. And so he is supposed to be this, again, very idealized version of, like, he's like the Ned Stark, the perfect, like, good guy with honor and grace, and he's handsome, and he's like, everyone respects him, and he, like, all the boxes are checked. And Oscar Isaac, is there anything he can't do? Like, truly and honestly, is there anything he can't do? Every time he's given something, he takes it 10 times further. He's such a superstar. I think he's one of the best of the best of his generation. And oh, he's so hot. Oh my God. He is so hot as Leto Atreides with that beard. Oh my God. Giving Major Daddy vibes. Like, he is just chef's kiss. It was so good. So regal. What you want in a Leto Atreides performance is you as an audience member should feel like you want him to be proud of you as well. And that's what Oscar Isaac did. It was incredible. He was so good. So good. Staying in the Atreides family, we are to our first failure. Jessica. Oh man. Oh man. Jessica was awful. Jessica was so bad. I really hated it. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. So I'm looking at everyone's comment, and so I'm wondering if I should rearrange this. I might I think I'll go back and talk about the characters in a little bit, because if you're not super into the Dune books, this might not make a lot of sense to you. So I'm gonna repivot, but I'll finish talking about Jessica, but yeah, and then after that we'll probably go into the plot, likes, dislikes, all that jazz. But man, Jessica was really bad. I don't know what her deal was, or if that was like a director call or a her call. But that was not Jessica, the Bene Gesserit bad bitch that I know from the books. Like, and it also was just like a weird, and even books aside, just within the movie framework itself, like she was just crying. She was crying the whole time. I didn't get what her purpose was. Like she like, so if you guys don't know, the Bene Gesserit are supposed to be this like eugenics cult of this sisterhood that are like trained from birth, and they have, Dune is a very advanced civilization, or advanced, everyone is very advanced human beings, because there is no technology, so the human body and the human mind just evolved to the farthest point that it could. And the Bene Gesserit are like the, pinnacle of this. They have complete control over mind and body and emotions, and so they don't cry. And the only emotions they express are the ones that they want to express. They are the master manipulators, the master influencers, that they always act as courtesans to like royal houses, because, they win people over with their sex and their guidance and their advice. They're super sharp. And she just seemed very flustered and just like an open wound the entire time. And it was just a very, very strange choice. And I just don't, I just don't understand why she was crying the entire time. But I think we're going to circle back to it, because some of y'all haven't read the book. So pivot, restart. Sorry if this was confusing, but we'll bring it back. So if you're just starting now, hi, hello. 20 minutes in, we'll get back. We'll start with more general stuff. So as a general overview of the movie itself, I thought it was really a very stunning, beautiful piece of work that is pivotal. I think one of a kind in the moment. At this moment, I think incredible achievement for Denis Villeneuve. You guys, I should have practiced the pronunciation of his name. I'm gonna just call him Denis for now. I can't say his last name, but an achievement for him as a director, and that kind of cements him and immortalizes him as a true and wonderful artist. And I just think it is going to open everybody's eyes to like what. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop right there. one of the things I did really respect. So if anyone hasn't watched it yet, I encourage everyone to watch this video that Denis did for Variety where he breaks down the Gom Jabbar scene. And you can just see, like, he talks about this project and has so much love for Dune that he really, really did love and respect the source material and was always going back to it for guidance, was always going back to it for inspiration, to show him the way. Like, this is something that he connected from a very, very young age with and had a very emotional relationship with. And so at the very least, he was approaching it with great care, but at the same time, he's still an artist. And I think as an artist, when it comes to something like that, I mean, he said in the interview that at the end of the day, he had to make it for himself. Like, he had to make the movie, the Dune adaptation that would have made him as a 14-year-old fan proud. And he felt like he did that. And I respect the hell out of that. And in addition to that, I think Hans Zimmer, who did the score, is also a very, very big fan. And he talked about how they collaborated a lot with, like, and they would always be kind of like going back to the various chapters and the various books to kind of like get inspiration and to get the feeling of the moment that they were trying to do. And I just think that's wonderful. I really love to see a piece of work that I love so much, treated with such care and with such love. And I really, really appreciate that. And I think it really shows in this movie, despite some, maybe some story and like plot hangups. Like, I really felt the love for Dune and in the project itself. And like, fuck, dude, Denis Villeneuve. Okay, Denis Villeneuve. Well, should we go with that? All right, thanks, Algro. But Hans, we'll start with things I liked. Hans Zimmer's score was like bananas. Fucking bananas. I cannot praise it enough. I thought it was such an astonishing, incredible thing to experience. And it is one of the things. So I will say, everyone that I've talked to about this movie so far, I just tell to go see it in theaters because it's a movie meant for theaters. Like, Denis says it himself. The score that it was made, it is meant to be experienced in theaters. And I know that it was released concurrently on HBO. Hold on, burp. But it is meant and worked in for a theater. And one of the things that I realized immediately, so I was like, oh shit, it's on HBO, which I have my gripes with. I don't love that it was released on HBO at the same time. I actually don't understand, like, how is it how do they make money? Like, what kind of crazy deal does HBO and WB have to get HBO more subscribers? Because I think it's crazy. I think it's fucking crazy that they would release it for free on HBO Max the same week it comes out in theaters. I'm like, how are you going to make the money back for this crazy expensive movie? You're not even going to like charge like $5 for it, $2 for it, like nothing. It's just free. I don't know. I think it's a crazy business model, but whatever. But so one of the first things I noticed, I was like, oh, cool, it's on HBO Max. Maybe I'll like watch it again. I'll like put on in the background when I'm working. And the first thing I noticed was just like, there are so many subtle like sound accents in the movie that are just completely lost when you watch it at home. Like, for real. Like, if you don't have like a sound bar and a sound system like in a home theater, like, you really are just missing so much of what makes this movie what it is, because the score itself makes the movie and it's an experience, and it's an experience to be held. What the famous quote? What is the famous Dune quote? Life is not the mystery of life is not a riddle to solve. It's a something to experience. I can't remember the exact words. They say it in the movie though, and it was like so good. But it makes it like a full body experience, and like the Hans Zimmer score literally like punches you in the face, and it's crazy, and it's just like like these crazy drums. And in the theaters, it was awesome. It was just, I can't praise it enough. It was so cool. That alone was really, really, I think, worth it as a movie going experience, because just visually it's stunning. If you want to see cool shit and hear cool shit, like does that sound like a bad time to you? Like, go to the theater, go watch it in the theaters. I don't know. But yeah, like I also know that Hans Zimmer, they like, when in their collaboration and stuff, they came up with like all these new like instruments and their own language, and they really got creative for this thing and just took it to the next level, like went really, really hard. And Hans Zimmer, like, you know, turned down other big budget projects. I forget which one. Maybe it was I think it was Tenet, the Nolan movie, so he could do this because he just loves Dune so much, and really it was like a passion project for him. And it shows, man. It's so good. The score is so good, guys. Please go see Dune just to listen to the score, like, for real, for real. Thank you, Ty Wigval, for the $5 super chat. But other likes. Well, you know what's a good segue for like another thing that I like in addition to the sound was the visuals. Like, holy crap, like that. I mean, I love it when I can see money in Hollywood well spent, if you know what I mean. Like, because this movie had a big budget. I think, was it 160 million, when you guys tell me? I think it's 160 million. But this movie had a crazy big budget, and it shows, and it was used wonderfully. I know Denis Villeneuve has a history of maybe not collaborating the best with his set designers, because he makes these like huge sets that are really hard to capture on screen. But for this movie, I saw it in IMAX because it's like the only way. But hold on, I'm like very gassy today. Maybe it's because I'm so excited to talk about Dune, you guys. But yeah, what was Denis Villeneuve is like known for creating these incredibly large set pieces that are kind of hard to capture on camera, but it was perfect for Dune because it just created this idea of like endlessness, this massive universe like to traverse, and the unknown. And it was perfect, just like the vastness of it all, this just expansive space that was never ending and mysterious and you know, humbling and intimidating. It was just chef's kiss, like, because that's what Dune, it's a huge universe. Like it's like a universe of people with like not even just like physically, it's lore and its ideas. Like, it's just big and it's heady, and that feeling of Dune was captured in the visual representation of it. And it was so awesome. It was so cool. Like, I really did feel immersed in the world and the experience of it all. I thought the costume design was really, really cool, really, really creative. I mean, even the ones that looked kind of silly, I still could see, like, I was just like, damn, like, I loved seeing, I just like seeing cool shit, guys. And I like seeing the product of like real artistry and creativity, and it just, for every piece of it, right? It's like the music and the score was just like, oh, like someone, a genius. And then these costumes and the intricacies and the details, I'm like, a genius. And then it's like the visuals are like genius, and the CGI like genius. It's like, it was just so much high level shit. It was so awesome to see. Yeah, so like the visuals and the sound, just all fucking 11 out of 10. And in addition to that, I felt like the visual representation of the sci-fi and technology elements was actually very well done. I was very, very surprised, like pleasantly and kind of shocked surprise at how well they visually represented a lot of the futuristic elements of Dune. Another burp. Like, for instance, just starting off with like the shield. So if you didn't get it from the movie, the shield is like, you know, it's a thing like this little like pulsar like shield that they put, force field that goes around your body. If someone hits it super fast, it repels it. If someone goes in super slow, then it penetrates it. But it's mostly invisible, you know? And so, but the way that they animated it, it's like saying animated it in the movie was so, it exceeded my imagination. Like I like, because in the book you're reading it and you have a vibe for it, but then seeing it on screen I was like, oh, that's so fucking sick. Like the little bit of like the lag, and it kind of looked like a psychedelic acid trip and like sound waves. And then it's just like I like that they differentiated between like it like turning red once the shield was penetrated. It just looked really clean. It looked really crisp. It was a really innovative idea for how to visually represent that. It was so awesome. What else kind of technology? Ooh, the mentat. So, you know what? I gotta say, this is okay. This is like one of those moments where it's like yes and no. Yes, I thought the way that they animated the mentat doing calculations through Fear Hawat, which was, I can't remember the actor's name. The older black man with the little umbrella, but I can't remember the actor's name. But he's a mentat. And when he was doing his little mentat calculations, how the eyes just kind of like roll up back in the head and they come back down, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. I was like, that was so sick. That was like such a good representation of what that was. Yes to that. No to, they never explained what a mentat was. So I'm like in the theater like, hell yeah, that's so cool. But I was just like, anyone else seeing this movie is like, what the fuck just happened? Like, you're not even, like, they didn't explain it at all. They never really went into like what his deal was or what his role was, which was like, kind of a shame. And there was a lot of that in this movie, and we can kind of get to that later. But Thufir Hawat is their mentat. They're the House Atreides mentat, which is basically a human computer. So because there's no artificial intelligence in Dune, it has been outlawed by the Butlerian Jihad. So no thinking machines, I forget what the exact quote is, but like, thou shalt not make a machine in the likeness of a man or human mind or whatever it is. But because there are no thinking machines, there are some people that are like conditioned and through their own training that can do like immense calculation, like computer like calculation, but in a human brain. So that's what the mentats are. And another thing that kind of sucked that they didn't get into is Paul is actually trained as a mentat. So Paul, like when we say perfect man, like this dude really can do it all. Not only is he, the heir of House Atreides and all the training that comes with that royal responsibility, he is a trained Bene Gesserit. He is a mentat. Like he's got all the skills. He's like he is the all-in-one tool. So that was a shame that they didn't really go into what that was. And also the guy, God, I can't remember his full name, but Piter, the bald guy from the Harkonnens, that is, I know, I'm kind of like messing, because in the movie they were saying Harkonnen, but I've always thought it was Harkonnen because of the like audiobooks and stuff. But what was I gonna say? The bald dude who was in Suicide Squad 2, who was working for the Harkonnens, he was also he's a mentat as well. So he's like a twisted mentat, so like a little evil mentat. So he's so creepy in the book. But yeah, they didn't really go into that either. So they animated it really well, but I realized that if I was if I was just a normie viewer, I'd be like, what the fuck just happened? They didn't explain that at all. Another representation that I enjoyed and didn't enjoy was the use of the voice. So what's really cool, so in that Denis Villeneuve Variety interview that he does, when he's breaking down the Gom Jabbar scene, he talks about the how they came up with how to represent the voice, because what the voice is, which I kind of love, like, so this guy, Frank Herbert, the guy who wrote Dune, is just like such a genius. So the Bene Gesserit having complete control of their mind and their body and their emotions, the way the voice is kind of explained is that, like, so it's basically mind control. If you want to get cheap, it's just mind control. But what it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be the most evolved, heightened version of the way a tone of voice makes you feel, So like when when you talk to someone like this, it makes them soften. And when you get in their face, it makes them defensive and angry. Like how you use your voice elicits a reaction from people. So this is just like the most advanced, evolved version of that. So when you use your voice in a very certain kind of way, it triggers a response from somebody. So that's what the voice is supposed to be. But it is mind control because when the Bene Gesserit use the voice, like the person follows it. The person does what they say. It is mind control. So when he's breaking it down in this interview, I thought it was really cool the way he described it, where he's like, I wanted it to be almost like, he's like, I didn't want to just like have Paul, like kind of, the voice gets used on him and he's just like, you're watching him like robot walk over. He's like, no, I wanted it to be like how it would be if you were Paul and you just kind of like fall into the coma and you come back and what the fuck did I just do? So he's like, so the way they did that is they like turned off all the lights in the room while like zooming in the camera. So it felt like you were like falling into it and then just like stumbling in and like waking up, like falling in and out of a coma, which I thought was really, really cool representation of it. And I actually did really enjoy the voice when Gaius Hellenmo, Gaius Hellenmoheim? Did I pronounce it? The Reverend Mother, the one with the veil on, when she was using it, I was like, damn, that was actually really, really cool. I really liked the way that they did that. But then when we got to the voice with Jessica and Paul in the Ornithopter, I was like, it got a little silly. It got a little cartoonish, because, this is me again, just being annoying and being like, well, in the book, this is what happened. But fuck, I can't help it, dude. Like, I can't help it. It's inevitable. Like, we all do it, whatever. But in the book, that scene is a lot more, subtle. Like, Jessica's use of the voice is a lot more subtle. It's a lot more, and she's just a bad bitch. I don't know how to say. It's a lot more menacing in like a soft way. Like what does she say? When she was using the voice in the movie, she was basically just using like demon voice. She's like, untie my bonds. Like it was just like super weird. But in the books, she says something like, no need to fight, don't fight over me, no need to fight over me, or something like that. And when she says it, that's what makes them fight against each other. I can't remember this off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that's what happens. And thank you, Kevin Wood and the Chosen One, for your very generous super chats. I will get into those in a little bit. But yeah, like she's just a lot more like playful and a lot more just controlled with her use of all her Bene Gesserit stuff. And she was just so more like frazzled and, whiny and like meek and sad this whole movie. Ugh, God, Jessie was so horrible. But yeah, that was really cool. Another visual representation of stuff that I really liked. The list of things that I liked is actually quite long. Like, God, how long is this stream going to be, guys? I might be talking about Dune for a really long time. I'm sorry, buckle in. But another thing that I liked, I'm just kind of going like bouncing from thread to thread, but speaking of them in the Ornithopters, I thought the Ornithopters actually looked really, really cool. Like I remember like nudging my friend and being like, oh shit, that actually looks really, like, I feel like that's what I imagined when I was reading the books. They described them as insect-like, kind of rough, like they're just kind of get up and they have wings and they, like an insect, like coming up and down for flight. And I feel like they captured that feeling of like a rough kind of choppy manual, like helicopter ornithopter vibe. So I really, really, really liked that. I thought that was really cool. Let's see what else was visually represented that I missed. I took some notes, but definitely not enough. Oh, how could I forget the big old worm, Shai Hulud, bless the maker. Okay, that actually, how do I feel about Shai Hulud? I'm not gonna lie. I would say like 99% amazing. Because honestly, I'm a simple gal, you know. I see a big old worm and I like it. You know, I felt like they were trying to like distinguish themselves in the previous Dune by making it look very specifically, but yeah, there are some elements of it that no, you know what? Honestly, it was great. I thought it was really cool. When I first saw the big old worm in the trailer, I cried a little bit because I just another thing that was captured well, like I said, was captured well in these Dune movies was the immensity, the vastness of Dune was very well captured in this movie, and Shai Hulud, the big old sandworm, was no exception. It just the hugeness of him. I just loved everything about the way it was kind of represented. I love the way that the sand like reacted to him, if that makes sense. Like, because Arrakis, as it's supposed to be, and as you know in the book and as I've imagined it, it's like this living breathing organism of just a harsh, unlivable, unrelenting nature against man, you know. Like, it's just a desert that won't stop and just takes and takes and takes. But it's not just this dead thing, it's this living thing that you have to survive in. And the way that the sand was like a part of the worm was so cool. I loved like the rhythmic aspects of it. I loved the way that it jumped. I loved the way that the worm like swam through it, like there was like a current to it and like a crashing. I loved the way that even when they had those scenes of the Fremen coming up out of the sand for battle, that felt very Mongolian-esque to me, because you know the Mongolians like the Mongolians, like the Fremen, are hardened by the world and the setting that they grew up in, because Mongolia is a very harsh place, and as a result creates very hard people, which gave the Mongolians the edge, which allowed them to conquer like almost all of Europe and Asia, or Asia and parts of Europe. And you know, there's this great story about the Mongolians, how when they were first attacking, I think it was Russia, and it was like the dead of winter. There's like this mountain pass into this one army village town or whatever. And they were so sure, they're like, no, we're safe, because like no one fights in the winter. No one's going to go through that mountain pass in like a storm in the dead of winter. Like, nah, we're good. But like, bitch, they thought those motherfuckers like hid in the snow, came out and just like fucked everybody up and just totally took them by surprise. And it was like the same thing. I got that same vibe, which is like, you know, very reminiscent, like I think inspired by that, you know, these Fremen that are hardened by the world that they're in, coming up out of the sand itself and like using it to their advantage. It was really, really cool. I just liked the way that it was. I even liked the way that the spice was like shown as to have this like sparkling quality that was visible in the sand and like yet a part of it and like in the air, and you could just tell it's like everyone's like breathing it all the time, and it just like it was really really cool. Big old sandworm. I one of the like super nitpicky, like not a big deal, maybe they'll show it in another movie, who knows. But you know, the worms are supposed to have this like raging fire inferno inside of them, just more heat in Arrakis that you didn't really get to see, but I thought they would see when it like opened up. I was like at them. But no, it was really 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 cool. I really I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was so awesome. What else am I missing? Bloop 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 things. I think that's like all the visual stuff that I really really liked. I really oh, you know what, the last thing that I almost forgot about that was represented, technology, sci-fi, you get it, you know, I've been talking about, you know what I'm talking about, was the Cone of Silence even that they did, that the Bene Gesserit and their Harkonnens were in, when they were just kind of like talking and it was super muted. Whoa. I keep hitting my lip gloss, guys. I'm just too excited right now. Oh, yeah. You know what? And that's kind of... Sorry. I'm reading Elgrim's comment. He says, as a non-book reader, I had no idea what the hell the spice was. Kind of just glazed over it. I will say, there's a lot of things like in this movie that were not great. And the biggest thing was like, yeah, the story and the plot. And like, so obviously you can tell by just my rant for the last like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I really, really loved the movie. I had a great time, super hyped. But then I also I was very aware of the fact when I was watching the movie that I was like, damn, if I didn't know about like literally everything in this book, I might be very confused, because a lot of things really weren't explained and a lot of things weren't really given the same weight and gravity as they were in the book. So there was a lot of just like major plot points missing that, you know, of course, in any kind of book to movie adaptation, they're going to drop shit. It's just inevitable. You can't put it all in. But stuff that gives the book its tension, you know, like what the rise, the climax, and the conflict, like all that stuff was kind of missing in this movie, which sucked, because like it just... It makes me sad, because what really annoys me when I see that HBO is concurrently releasing Dune with the same day that it gets released in the theater, you know, like not even giving it a moment to be in the theater, like immediately releasing it on HBO Max. I'm like, okay, so obviously HBO and Warner Brothers have a relationship. They've been releasing movies on their streaming services all year long. They obviously are, you know, in bed with each other. Why the fuck wasn't Dune a show? Real talk. Like, why wasn't Dune a show? It makes zero sense to me. I don't understand why they wouldn't just, like, you could have gotten several seasons just from one book. Like, I mean, they need their next Game of Thrones. I don't know what, like, they need their next Game of Thrones. It's right there. It's already, and you don't even have to wait for George R. R. Martin this time. They're already written, done, set, signed, ready to go for you. And Game of Thrones showed them that, like, this kind of shit works. Like, you know, just because it's nerd shit, just because it's sci-fi, just because it's super complicated, doesn't mean mainstream audiences can't get on board. Like, you know, on at just face value, like Game of Thrones is like a fantasy series with all this complicated threads and political intrigue and like 500 million characters to memorize. And you know what? It was the biggest hit the world has ever seen. So like, this the same shit, the same thing for Dune. Like, Dune is the ultimate #1 sci-fi. Like, so many other sci-fi books and pieces take their inspiration from Dune. So why you wouldn't just trust the world and the audiences to just like accept it and go on for the ride? It doesn't make any sense to me. And there's just so many things that were left that felt like they were left on the cutting room floor, or weren't even considered, because there just wasn't any time. Like, yes, we're getting a part 2. I'm very grateful for that. I am super excited. But dude, like, this is one of the headiest, most complicated books or series out there. And to try to sum it up into one movie is just impossible. Like, it's really impossible. And I think it suffered for that. And I mean, all I can hope is that it just inspires people to read the book, and so they can get the full experience. But like, man, like, and I don't know, maybe one day someone will pick up the baton and really turn it into the big budget show. But it's like I feel like the only network that really could support that kind of budget to make Dune what it needed to be would be HBO. And they, like, I don't fucking know, dude. It pisses me off, though. It really pisses me off, because, man, just like what we could have gotten versus what we got is, yeah, it sucks. But at the same time, for what we got, it was pretty damn good. It was pretty damn good. I just wish in my heart of hearts that it would have been a show. I really wanted it to be a show. But yeah, because there's just so many things that weren't explained. Yeah, like the spice. They basically, like, I think in the when Paul is watching the recordings, and they're saying like, oh, the spice is it's like a powerful hallucinogen that's also has strong medicinal properties and also helps people like travel through space and time. Like, it's a very quick explanation, and it's true. It's basically that is the large and small of it. But yeah, I think it is hard to understand the gravity of like spice is everything, like everything. It's because of spice that people can live for like hundreds of years. They have access to prescience. It's like being able to see in the future. They have access to unlock certain parts of their mind. Like, spice is everything. It is the number one most important thing, and like the Fremen are just like soaked in it, and it's part of their culture and it's part of their life. And it's yeah, there's a lot of things that missed out. I guess I'll start kind of going into kind of the things that were hard to set up. Yeah. Like one of the things that I didn't really like about the movie, first of it being just the thin storyline. Like, I felt as a non-Dune fan, I don't know if I would have been as into it as I personally was. And so if some people went in it and thought it was just okay, I totally understand, because a lot of the cool parts about the story itself were kind of missing. Like, there's a lot of subtle things in the book that add a lot of drama and a lot of like, nail biting suspense and like intrigue to the plot itself. I mean, just to start with the obvious, like Dr. Yue, the one who ends up betraying them, you kind of got like nothing from him, which kind of sucks, because he just betrays them at the end, and you're like, I personally didn't really care, and it didn't really feel like they were setting him up for you to care that he betrayed them. It wasn't clear. Like, it felt like they were just trying to move the plot along, but they're like, they didn't really care whether or not you felt a certain type of way that it was Dr. Yue, which it just takes away from an element, because like within his plot, like within Dr. Yue's plot, you get kind of a glimpse into a lot of other like machinations that are going on. So he's the Harkonnen spy, he's the Harkonnen spy and the one who's going to betray them. Yes, the Baron Harkonnen has his whole like big old plot, whatever. But then you also find out that through their whole plot, that the Empire of the Guild, sorry guys, it's been a little while since I read the book, actually want Paul to get assassinated. Like, they specifically want Paul. And the Baron's like, what? Like, okay, like, why Paul though? And they're like, don't worry about it, just do it. And then within being the traitor, the Dr. Yue also has, I think it's Sook training. So he has, basically all Sook doctors are physically unable to harm people. So so everyone thinks that they're safe around them. So like, they're a little more vulnerable and they're a little more comfortable around them. There's also this other side plot where they think Jessica is actually the spy, but it's actually Dr. Yue, and he's like so sure that that she's the one who's she's gonna figure him out, because she's like Bene Gesserit, and everyone like doesn't trust the Bene Gesserit, calls them witches, but at the same time they're super sharp. There's all that kind of stuff. I also felt like just in regards to the whole scheme, they didn't really make it feel known that the Atreides knew that they were doomed. So that's another like tense part of the whole story, is from the very beginning, the whole Atreides clan knows they're going in to be set up for a trap and get like taken down. and they do it anyway. They think that if they, work hard enough and scheme back hard enough that they'll kind of get an upper hand and get out of it. But they know going into it that they're like fucked, that this is all just their slow demise. And I felt like that element of it was really missing in the movie, which I think would have been pretty easy to add in, and also would have added some of that like suspense and like hurt and stomach feeling where you're just like, fuck man, like when's that shoe gonna drop? And then God, what else? Oh yeah. Oh wait. Yeah. Okay. And then so Leah Kynes, who was like the Empire slash Fremen contact, whatever. That was also done that was a weird change from the book to the movie, because when they first meet Dr. Kynes, they don't know that like Leah Kynes, that there's a Leah Kynes or whatever in the Fremen, that there's a lore for a Fremen leader, and then they meet a Dr. Kynes and they don't know that they're the same person. And so you don't know that this doctor, who's also a representative, or this ecologist that's a representative of the Empire, is also like heavily entrenched like in the Fremen themselves, and like is like actually a for real Fremen, like born there, lived there their whole life, like that kind of shit. Like you don't know that, and it kind of gets revealed later, and they like figure it out together, but then they just kind of like plopped it in your face in the beginning, which was like a weird choice. Like I don't know, there just wasn't a lot of, I guess what I'm saying, there wasn't a lot of reveals. Like there wasn't like a lot of wondering what's gonna happen. Like it was just very slow, very just kind of like a big layout of everything that's going on. So I don't know, the plot was definitely a little thin, and it was a lot of setup and not a lot of payoff. Not really. Like even like the weird visions that Paul was having didn't really make any sense. Like I knew what they were supposed to be because I've read the book, but as a moviegoer, even there were some that I was like, what the fuck is this supposed to be? Like how many times can we see Zendaya look over her shoulder? Like we get it, she's super hot and in a hot desert. Like I get it. Like, oh, is that like we know he's dreaming about Zendaya. We don't need to see her over and over and over again. But alas, she was every vision, and it wasn't even like a cool vision of their future. I don't know. It was just her, just like every single time. So there were definitely some questionable things. And yeah, I mean, even just their like random little things, like that little like mouse, just nothing was really explained. Like Muad'Dib. So Paul's Fremen name is Muad'Dib, which is like a little desert mouse. But then they showed all these scenes with this desert mouse. So it was a lot of stuff for the fans. It was just, I guess it was a movie for the fans, but not really for the common people. But then at the same time, I felt like they did a lot of work to make the movie for the general mainstream audience, so people would think Dune was like really cool and really awesome, but then at the same time there's a lot of stuff that just wasn't explained and was very fan service. I don't know, it was kind of, there are definitely some parts that were a little bit, that could have been a little spicier, you know what I'm saying? Like even the Baron Harkonnen, so the big baddie, the big old supervillain, the Baron Harkonnen, one of the things I did like is they actually did make him, I liked how disgusting they made him, just like visually, just like he's like in a bathtub of grease or whatever, and he's just like slurping, and he's gross, and he's like bulbous, and like, cause like the Baron is supposed to be disgusting, he's supposed to be gross, but the thing that was missing from his character is that he was not funny enough, if that makes sense. Like the Baron is supposed to be, he's a ridiculous character, but he's kind of awesome. He is like he is the personification of mustache twirling villain, but kind of in the best way, because he is relentlessly ruthless, will do what the fuck ever needs to be done, and just likes to do things just for the fun of it. Like he is hedonism to its utmost nth degree. Like he is this just disgusting, like huge fat, and he likes to eat and be fat because it grosses people out. He likes to say offensive shit. He likes to say things that makes people like upset. He likes to do things just to fuck with people. He likes to go against like other machinations just to throw people off. Like he's just trolling everybody at all times. Like he's just a total and complete wild card. And I felt like that kind of chaotic element of him was missing, which kind of sucked. But they also understandably took away the fact that he is a pedophile, and he grooms his nephew to be his successor, but is like doing other stuff to him as well. Like it's really sad. And I get it. That's one change that I could see the mainstream audiences not being ready for. It's in these times, like it's a pretty dicey topic to go down, also because with any kind of old material, all of those, like, there's like touches of like homophobia and stuff in it that, like, not like, it's not saying like gay people are bad, but it's like there's another like gross element to it. So I get why they would take it out, but I also think it's another element that just makes him gross and like horrible and terrifying that I don't know if they could have made work for like a PG-13 WB Warner Bros. Movie, but you guys can just know in your heart of hearts that that's what's going down in his book. And I don't even actually know if the nephew that he's grooming is going to show up in these movies, because he kind of has a bigger role in the books, but I don't know. And then... Oh, yeah, speaking of more things that were not conveyed that possibly you guys missed, was what Paul was becoming, and the responsibility that he was awakening to, that they were alluding to. So I'm actually not sure when it happened, because it was a little bit unclear in the movie, but when they talk about the Kwisatz Haderach, which I didn't really like explain in great detail, but it's basically the male version of a Bene Gesserit that could see through time, both in the past and in the future, and can connect both the male and female memories of all of their descendants. So what the awakened Reverend Mothers can do is they can access the memories and the lives of every single person, every woman they've ever been related to, back to like the beginning of time. They can access all of those memories, and the Kwisatz Haderach would be able to do both male and female. And so that is what Jessica was trying to create with Paul, and what they had been slowly working on for like thousands and thousands of years, just selectively breeding this person with this person to finally get that perfect mind that would be the Kwisatz Haderach. And he, is supposed to awake to this prescient ability to be able to see through time and start accessing all these genetic memories and all that jazz. And but that's kind of what he's being awakened to in the Gom Jabbar scene. So that's just the beginnings of it, right? Where he finally starts to unlock all these abilities and this awareness that he didn't know he had. That wasn't I felt like that wasn't super clear in the movie, but that's what's supposed to be happening. And then later on, when he is in when they're in that little tent, I'm pretty sure that's what he's supposed to be like, when he's finally getting exposed to the spice for the first time, like really, because the spice is what unlocks this prescient ability in the people that have the genetic capability to access it. It allows you to see the future, and that's how the space guild so when they say that's what the space travel would not be possible without the spice. It's because the Space Guild navigators are seeing a little bit into the future, and that's how they're able to navigate at light speed through space and whatever the fuck. You get it. And so when he finally awakens his awareness and starts seeing the future, what he sees is a holy war in his name. And I get that the movie, because Paul doesn't really understand it when he's like, or he understands what he's seeing, but it's still a little surprising and a little shocking. But like he knows what it is, and it was kind of hard to understand from his visions, just the gravity of what is coming in his name. And it's like, I don't know why they wouldn't make it more clear, like maybe not to be like a spoiler, but like that's part of the tension in Dune, is that he's trying to like hold back. It's like there is a holy war that goes on in his name, that billions and billions and billions and billions of people die, all for this crusade that he does not want. And he knows that his journey of becoming Muad'Dib, of becoming the Atreides leader, like this all goes down to this path, to this holy war that he cannot control, but that also it's just the inevitability of the universe that he knows is in front, that he really can't do anything about. And it fucking sucks, and it sucks for him. And but that is Paul's cross to bear. And like his first glimpse of that, you just see like a knife and him and Chani in a ship and some Fremen on a beach. And I think that was it. I can't remember, honestly, all the scenes, but I felt like the gravity of it really wasn't conveyed in his visions. But I mean, that was just like many things that I felt kind of were not expressed as well as they could have been in the movie, because there just wasn't enough time, or maybe the direction was wrong. I don't know. But I'll let you guys go. So I think I'm going to wrap up talking about the characters a little bit. And then I also maybe want to let you guys chime in a little bit and maybe read some of the super chats to see how you guys felt or what you want to talk about in the movie. But I think the last few things, so I stopped talking about the characters in the beginning to kind of go more into like the general review of the movie itself. And I stopped at Jessica. So we can kind of go back to her, since now we've gone on a rant of things I didn't like. But this is going back to one of the things that I think you guys have heard me talk about a million times, but like it really, really bugs me. Like it really actually rubs me the wrong way when actors or actresses like disparage the source material and just don't give a fuck and just like publicly shit on it. Like it really fucking pisses me off, because I don't understand. I truly don't get why you would get involved in a project that you knew had like this source material and this huge fan. There's a huge opportunity for you to be beloved by millions of people for something and to really do an artist justice. But every fucking goddamn time, there's always one asshole that's like refuses to read it for whatever reason, because they're stupid and they can't read a book or whatever. But Rebecca Ferguson has publicly said that she like didn't read the book, or like started it and couldn't finish it, and that like she didn't like it or something. I forget what the exact quote is, but like there was like some interview where she basically was just like shocked that like someone would read the book twice. And like, I don't know, it was just like, dude, fuck you. Like, I'm sorry, but like, fuck you. Like, you think you're too good for, I don't know. I really, 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 it's a book. You can't you can't read a book. Like, I know, actors and actresses aren't known for their smarts, their intellect, but they have emotional intelligence, and it's a guidance on emotional intelligence, and it's a book. Just read the book. Like, I I don't get it. I don't get it. And it just, whatever. So I am coming in with a little hate from that. I'm not going to lie. But then she really, so that's why it's like, I don't know if the hate is more directed at her, more directed at Denis. I don't know. But their, whatever, combined interpretation of Jessica was so off and so wrong and just made her seem like this fragile, weak, whiny, bitchy mom. And it just, like, that's just so not who she is. Like, first, another thing that was missing in the movie was like the Duke and Jessica's love. Like, they're supposed to be so in love, it's stupid. Like, so in love that it hurts. And that she defied the Bene Gesserit order, which you do not do, which no one does. No one defies the Bene Gesserit order, but she did, because she loved her Duke so much. And she wanted to give him a son. And she also wanted to try to get the Quisdex Haderach, but she wanted to give him a son, and she just loved him. And, it just that love and that tenderness, I think, was really missing from the movie. And also, just Jessica is the strength. She is like this, like, she is this beacon of, like, you know, Bene Gesserit wisdom and, you know, untouchable, like, unwavering control and presence and commanding. She's a commanding presence, bad bitch. She's supposed to be so, like, beautiful and just enchanting, and like everyone's in love with her and scared of her, and just, I just didn't get that. She just felt like some meek, like, she's crying and always just like, Paul, like, where are you going? Like, what do you mean? Like, how can you know that? And you're like, how can you not know that? You're supposed to know everything. Like, you're supposed to be on it. You're supposed to be like 10 steps ahead of everybody. But she just, yeah, I don't know. I don't really understand what the direction for that was. But, you know what? And I don't know how I always end up talking about Angelina Jolie, but when I, like, first read the Dune books, I always imagined Lady Jessica as Angelina Jolie in my mind. And Angelina Jolie is someone who really respects source material and commits to roles. So, just saying. Yeah, Nolo, someone says, I thought the audience was supposed to hate her from that movie. Yeah. What the fuck was that? You're not supposed to hate Jessica. You're supposed to be like, holy shit, like, this woman is, like, she's supposed to be this mystery, like, that you're just like, ooh, like, what is her deal? But, like, again, scared of her, in love with her, dying to see what she does. That's just kind of how you're supposed to view Jessica. And yes, and maybe this is what they're trying to do in the movie, but, like, there is a plot to besmirch her name, to paint her as the spy, to turn people against her in the Atreides household. So maybe that's the angle that they were going for with her, that portrayal, but damn, that sucked. But yeah, anyways, just kind of wrapping up the rest of the characters. Stilgar, Javier Bardem's Stilgar, 11 out of 10. Again, just like Oscar Isaac, no complaints, no pointers, nothing to say other than killed it, went above and beyond, understood the assignment, amazing, accent on point, look on point, attitude on point, hot as fuck, just like felt like, you know, felt Fremen, you know what I mean? Even as someone who, like, didn't understand, like, what Fremen were, they're supposed to kind of, yeah, be this, like, mysterious, scary, hard people, foreign, you know, and he totally encapsulated all of that. I thought it was fantastic. I love it. I'm so excited to see more of him. Who else was in? Oh, Jason Momoa. I mean, oh, thank you, Dr. Random. Custom to premium. Jason Momoa was Jason Momoa, like Jason Momoa is always Jason Momoa. Like, when has Jason Momoa not been Jason Momoa? It's the only role he knows how to play. So he, like, it's not like he was bad in the role. He was just Jason Momoa, so nothing super outside of the box. And I mean, Duncan Idaho is supposed to be kind of you know, he's very hot. He is, you know, the best soldier. So I mean, he did what he can. He brought some, you know, swag and some levity to the movie, which was nice. I don't really understand why Jason Momoa is Duncan Idaho because, sorry, another spoiler alert, but like Duncan Idaho is one of the only characters that's in every single Dune book. And Jason Momoa definitely doesn't have the chops for that. That's for damn sure. But I don't think they expect this to go past like maybe the first two parts of the movie. I don't know. But also Duncan Idaho can be, he can be a little dense, like a little bit, you know, just black and white. So maybe that's what they were going for. I don't know. But he's hot. Did a good job. Whatever. Same thing with Beast Raban, who was played by Dave Bautista. They also were very like minor characters in the movie, so we didn't really get much from them. But what's his name? Josh Brolin as Gurney Halleck. I didn't love. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't love. Again, kind of just like another like minor character that didn't get a lot of screen time and a lot of stuff to work with, but he was just kind of like this gruff, like aggressive soldier guy, which he is, but the Gurney in the book is also, he's very romantic, very musical. He plays the balisette. He's got definitely some charming, soft, like a gentle like a sweetness and a sexiness to him as just that matches his ruthlessness and his gruffness, and it's just kind of this balance of him as a man, and that kind of swag was missing in Josh Brolin's portrayal of it. But whatever, maybe they just like weren't trying to focus. There's too many characters, we only have 2.5 hours, just fuck it, they don't matter. And they just like threw them on the cutting room floor. Let's see. Am I missing anything else before I blah, 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 go into you guys? Oh, Zendaya. I forgot she was also like a main character. I don't really know what to think of it yet because she was only on the screen for like 2 seconds, and the 2 seconds I saw was not very, not a fan of, because Chani, which is Paul's woman, she's a Fremen bitch. Like, she is a Fremen hard ass bitch, and you know, she's his fucking soulmate, and she's feisty and intense and like just like a cutting, emotional, just like you're like a down ass ride or die bitch that will like cut a motherfucker, but will also like rate, like, you know, protect her family, like total mama bear vibes. And I don't know. Zendaya was just like, I wouldn't let you hurt my friends. And I was like, okay, sure. I don't know. Maybe it'll be different in the other movies, but it didn't feel like she was doing anything super different than what she usually does. Also, Chani just like gave him a knife and then like made a weird comment to him. But in the books, she also like gives him some advice, you know, like she shows him, like, she's like, oh, you know, he kind of has something on his right side, like watch out for that. Like, she gives him advice on how to like actually beat him instead of just giving him a knife and saying don't hurt my friends, which was like also hilarious because like friends, like no, they are not your friends. They are your family. They are your CH. They are your like the Fremen are so bonded. They're not just fucking friends. Like, everyone's like super connected. They're like one symbiotic community. I don't know. I just thought like it didn't really make any sense, but it also didn't feel as like a big of a threat when she's like, I wouldn't let you hurt my friends. But like, if she was like, I wouldn't let you hurt my family, then you'd be like, oh, okay, damn, bitch. All right, fine. Jesus. But yeah. And then that last line when she like turned around and was like, it's only the beginning. I was like, that was pretty cheesy. It was pretty cheesy. Okay. Physically, again, this is the same thing with Timothée Chalamet. She looks exactly actually like how I imagine Chani in my mind. Like, paper to screen, perfect physically. we'll see how she does performance wise. She did have like a really, really small role in this movie, and you'll definitely see a lot more of her in the next movie. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know. Oh yeah, you know what? Actually, one more thing about that scene. Sorry, and then I'll go into the chat. I have so much to say about Dune, you guys. It's wild, but I think you guys already knew this. In that scene too, which actually I did like. Okay, so in that scene when Paul kills Jamis, I can't remember. It's a very important moment for Paul, and I actually thought that was done pretty well. Like, I liked that he was seeing Jamis in like his visions of like his life as a Fremen and in the past. Like, even though Jamis doesn't actually like end up in his life because he kills him, he is a part of his journey. So he's like seeing him in these visions, which is what prescience is. It's not just like this is what's going to happen. It's like this feeling and this. It's like the intertwining of all of these realities like on top of each other. And, you know, when he kills this man, which is like the first man he ever kills, it's very hard on him. He's like 15 years old in the book. He kills a dude out of just in a straight brutal kind of way out of survival. And it's crazy. And then they're having this funeral for him and he cries, understandably so. And it like the Fremen are shook. They do not know what to, because they're like, he gives water to the dead. He gave water to the dead. Like, oh, and then like it kind of like shifts everyone's view of him, and they kind of accept him and are fascinated by him in a new way because the Fremen do not cry. Every drop of moisture is recycled into their still suits. Like, you do not give an ounce of moisture away. So to cry over a dead person is like the greatest honor and the craziest thing. So everyone's just like blown away and does not know what to do with themselves. And it's like the beginning of the lore that the Fremen surround Jessica and Paul with. And so I was kind of surprised. No water for the dead, but you know, we'll see. Maybe I'll do it in the next movie, but yeah, I think that's it. And I'm gonna go look at some super chats and then look in the regular chat if we have some time. So I just want to thank Lord Vito and Ilgram again. Thank them again for becoming premium members. I think I'm gonna do a live stream with members on Sunday, perhaps. Saturday's Halloween. It's Halloween weekend. Oh, yeah. Keep forgetting about that. Okay, so let's look at these stupid chats. All right, Ty Wigwall, $5. Thank you very much. I confess, hi, Daryn, I confess, I'm not into Dune, but I love seeing your love for the material. Well, thank you, Ty Wigwall. Yeah, I've been fucking running my gap for like an hour and 23 minutes. Jesus Christ. And I feel like I haven't stopped for a second. I've just been like for an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah. Mama's got thoughts. Kevin Wood with the $4.99 says, watching Dune just reinforces how much I want Javier Bardem as Dr. Doom. Maybe it's just me, though. Also, thanks for doing the Wood name proud. Hell yeah, we must be related or something. I've made that joke 5 times now. Javier Bardem as Dr. Doom. Yeah. Yeah. I could see that, actually. I really like Javier Bardem as an actor, and just he's got a great vibe. Like, he's just like he's got a hot, powerful man vibe. Like, he just does, and I love to see him on screen, but I definitely could see him as Dr. Doom. That's faux show. The Chosen One. I said one twice because it's The Chosen One spelled out, and then there's also one. $10. Hey-o. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you. Love the movie, but my friends hating on the movie just don't get it. It's really all about the world building for me. I totally agree. And like, that's one of the things too, that like, as much as there are things that we're missing in this movie, I think at the very least, we just got a huge new influx of Dune fans, which I I'm just like, I'm so happy about, because all I want is for people to read Dune. All I fucking want is for people to put Dune into their brains, because it is such a beautiful, beautiful, transformative piece of work. And there are so many beautiful ideas. I have to look up that quote that I was saying earlier, because it was quoted in the movie and it's one of the best. It's like I have all these fucking like Dune art prints and stuff in my house. But there's this Dune quote: "The mystery of life isn't a problem to solve; it's a reality to experience," which is is an incredible sentence, and one of those sentences that you just feel blessed to fucking read when you're reading it in this beautiful piece of art, and now the world gets to like see it and experience it as well in this crazy amazing movie, was just awesome. And I'm so happy that it exists, and I'm so happy for all the Dune hype and Dune exposure that it's giving to the world. And I hope Dune gets a second reemergence, and I hope that a bunch of people read it, and that, I don't know, maybe in a couple years from now, when everyone's really obsessed with Dune and everyone's read the book and it's got all this hype and the second part does really well, maybe they will make it into a show. Who knows? Like, just I hope Dune never dies, and I hope it keeps going, and I love this phase that it's having right now, and I'm just so happy. Ty Woodball says, "I just realized when you said there is no A in Dune, that is almost the antithesis of Asimov's foundation. There is no A in Dune. A explanation point. I don't really know what that means." Maybe just because I've been talking so much, my brain isn't operating at full capacity. Can you explain that to me in the chat, please? I'm sorry, I'm dumb. And then we have, all right, let's see, Striker X24, $10. Oh my God, you guys. This is so much, this is more appreciated than you guys actually even know. I need this. Says, "Hey Daryn, don't worry, not homework this week." Yeah, I haven't got to my homework yet either. But off topic from Dune, what's your thoughts on the Eternals? It feels like no matter the answer on why they didn't fight Thanos, it won't be a good one. I've talked about this a little bit in previous chats. I don't really know how to feel about the Eternals. I think I'm going to feel like I said before, I'm just going at the very least, I'm excited to take in the Eternals as a visual auditory experience. I'm going to see it on opening night. I'm going to see it in IMAX or Dolby. Get that experience. There's a fly on my camera. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Okay. I'm going to see it in opening night. I'm hyped enough about it to see it on opening night. That's my thoughts on Eternals that I've said earlier. I'm hyped enough to see it on opening night. I'll see it in IMAX or Dolby, really get the full experience. I don't know if I'm as hyped as what they're going to do with the story, but I'm excited to see Angelina Jolie's sweet face, Kit Harington, Kumail Nanjiani. I'm excited to see Gemma Chan. I'm excited for the cast, so I'm still excited for it. Dr. Random, $20. Hey, Dr. Random and Elgrim are my number one OGs, if you guys didn't know. So Dr. Random also joined Premium. Hey. He said, "Not gonna lie, I was kind of lost this whole stream. Fuck! But you talking about Dune sounds like me talking about One Piece, so I will give it a try." That's fair. You know what? I kind of felt that way too, Dr. Random, when I was like, dude, this stream is for like 3 people. Like, actually, mostly it's for me. So, yeah, I don't think I even organized my thoughts that well. Like, I was kind of a mess. I was kind of all over the place. I started off poorly by starting off with going into the characters. I'm sorry. I tried to warn you guys at the top of the stream that this was just me going out the top of the dome. I haven't really like prepared for this or yeah, which maybe I should have, but I wanted to talk about it right after I'd seen it. So maybe I'll sit down and write like a better, more thoughtful YouTube video about it. I think that is it. and then I will just look at a few more things in the chat, and then I will wrap it up because I have not shut the fuck up for an hour and a half, and it's probably time for me to shut this pie hole. Oh, AI, Ty Wigfall. Got it. Okay. So when you said, let me go find. Just realized when you said there's no AI in Dune, this is the almost antithesis. Okay, so are you saying that you didn't realize that when watching the movie that there was no AI? Because I could see that too, that they didn't make it super clear. But yeah, that's supposed to be the whole world building of Dune, is that because there's no computer, all that was left was for humans to evolve. And so that's what they did. Which makes for some really, really, really cool things like mentats and souk doctors that physically can't harm people or they'll get ill and blah, blah, blah. And Bene Gesserit witches and the sisterhood and the Fremen and their spice orgies. It's just all this cool shit. Let's see. Simpire membership here. Hey, Jedi. Hey, I love my Simpire. My legion of simps. I've been drawing the whole stream, so you've been talking in the background has been nice. All right, okay, Mojo, I'll take it. So even if you didn't understand, just the sweet, sweet sound of my voice was enough for you. I'll take it. All right, Jedi Mike, what's your Halloween costume? I'm going to be Trinity from The Matrix. Fairly simple, nothing too crazy, and some of you guys might know, I have like a very emotional allegiance to Matrix because it's like it was one of the first things that I really, really liked. My brother and sister and I, there were a few things that we agreed on, and when you have siblings, me and my brother and sister are all a year apart, and so we were just up each other's ass all the time, you know, sharing a room, sharing clothes, in the minivan at the same time, watching TV at the same time. So you have to learn how to share and compromise. And so the few things that we did agree on, we would just watch over and over and over again. So we would watch like The Matrix and Star Wars and the X-Men over and over and over and over and over and over again. We had a VHS that we put in the minivan and we would just watch it all over and over and over again. And so I really love The Matrix. I'm going to be Trinity. Let me just Yeah, Jason Momoa played the big bro role as he always does, says Elgrim. He just plays a different version of a bro in every single movie. Yeah. Hero Dares Fire says, I found it odd that the Fremen live in such an inhospitable environment and look the part, but then Zendaya's over here with her perfect skin looking like a goddess. For real though, that actually really bugged me. It actually bugged me a few times that it seemed like they weren't making the environment seem harsh enough. Like that when that guy makes that comment when he's watering the palm trees, like, yeah, if you stand out here too long, like you're gonna die. Like you literally, like it's so hot that you cannot be outside during the day. Like that's how unforgiving and inhospitable this environment is, and that's why it's like Stilgar looked like a Fremen, rough, gruff. He has this accent that like, and that's what I mean. It's like when I say he feels foreign, like I don't want and like she didn't have an accent, which I didn't fucking get. I really didn't like, because it's like, why would some chick who grew up on a completely different planet and not have any access to any of the technology that modern, like, so even though the Harkonnens lived on Arrakis and they were part of the Empire and whatnot, like the Fremen were not a part of that, and we're not really a part of that civilization. So why in the fuck would they talk the same as Paul? I don't know. There wasn't a sense of like foreignness to the Fremen in terms of Zendaya. Like, yeah, she just looks like some hot goddess with perfect skin and not a bead of sweat. Like no one was sweating in the movie. I wanted more sweat. Like they're in these stiff suits. I just wanted to see like beads of sweat pouring down people's face so you could feel just how uncomfortable and how like the world is just bearing down on them. Susan says, Daryn, you fawn over so many dudes. Yeah, it's true. What can I say? I'm a big old perv, big old slut over here, and I just like hot people. What can I say? Um, my favorite part is when the Duke Leto thinks spice is the power of the desert, then it's revealed the worm is the true power. Actually, so I feel like that maybe if that wasn't clear, like Leto doesn't just think the spice is the power. That's what the Harkonnens thought. Leto understands that the people, that the planet and the Fremen that have lived there their whole lives and understand the planet are the power. So when he says desert power, he's like, the way that we're going to get out of this trap is by making an alliance with the Fremen, because I feel like in their arrogance and their greed, the Harkonnens have really underestimated the Fremen and who they are and their power. And that's what they kind of get into in that one scene where they meet Stilgar, where he's just like, and they meet like Duncan, Idaho, and they find out there's millions of Fremen, and he's just like, these people have been like disrespected, and the Leto is like the ultimate number one good guy that everyone loves and honors and respects, and because he honors and respects people, and that's what he wants to do. He just wants to like actually form alliance and like go like build his power with the people that truly have it, and could really have it if they get out from the oppression. So yes, that's actually what he was going for. But you know what other weird side tangent? Sorry, God, I can't stop talking about Dune. I weirdly, speaking of hot pervy thoughts, that last scene with like and this is one of the reasons why I love Oscar Isaac. Like, he's given so little in certain things, and he just knocks it out of the park. And that end scene with him where he's like naked, which I thought was such a interesting choice, but like I actually really liked it. It added to the creepiness and the weirdness and the sadness, and him oh God, that was so well done. I was definitely boohoo crying in the theater. And also I was crying a lot just because a lot of things that I've imagined in my mind for years and years I was finally seeing brought to life. That always makes me cry. So yeah. Yeah, Elgrim the Elder, I like heard that there is a Bene Gesserit show in the works. I don't know. We'll see. I hope they don't go the Jessica and the Dune movie route, or I will be pissed, because the Bene Gesserit are amazing. They're so awesome, and they were not really done given their full moment in this past movie, although the costumes are cool. So is Dune what the post-Facebook world would be like, says James Bunt. Kind of, yes. That's like what it's supposed to be, the world after just a world-ending apocalypse and just fighting and nonstop conflict. They just finally were like, all right, that's fucking enough. That's enough. No more machines. No more religious wars. It's done. We're over. We're making the Orange Catholic Bible, which is an amalgamation of every religious book into one text. No more thinking machines. All you have left is just like work together and work on yourselves. Figure it out. And all right, I think that is it. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my Dune chat. I am so sorry it was so rambly and so all over the place. I really should have organized it a little bit better, but I just had so much to say and so many thoughts and fun stuff to say about Dune. And yeah, because I just had I've had a great time with it, and I'm really just so happy it exists, and glad that you guys still wanted to hear me talk about it, even if you haven't seen the movie or don't know what I'm talking about or haven't read the book. All in all, I really encourage you to go see it in the theaters. I think it will totally change your experience of it. And plus, I also want everyone, as many people as I can, to see it in theaters selfishly, so it does very, very well and more money is invested into it, and the powers that be and the suits that be will finally just acknowledge that it's a good idea. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope that everyone had a lovely night. I will see you next week, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. This seems like a good time for everybody.